Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the old MCU crew. How do you do? Bronze, are you surviving the heat? I know it's bad over there. It's it's literally like setting records. Like, I think yesterday was the hottest recorded day ever or something insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the thing is like most places out here don't have central air.
Right.
So the weirdest thing has been trying to cool down my electronics, because I think last time I streamed I was saying I kept getting a weird internal heating error on my A7.
Yeah.
And like even this morning, like half of my electronics overheated. So I turned them off overnight, trying to keep everything cool. Luckily I've got a couple of like window units, but I've actually been rotating like what rooms they go into to try to mitigate some of the heat.
That's crazy.
It's bad.
I'm being from Texas, I'm used to like 100 plus, degree weather, but we have central cooling to like deal with that weather, right? So it's not that bad. The entire West Coast generally does not have that solution. So it's pretty brutal over there from everything that I've read and seen. I think today was supposed to be even or is supposed to be even hotter than yesterday, if I recall.
Mm-hmm.
Like 105
we're not
or something.
To get a break until Wednesday, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just worried we're going to transition from this oven into fire season. I can't do it. I'm not built for it.
Yeah. Well, stay safe.
It's funny, like complaining about the weather because, I lived in India for half my life, but I feel like we just have better methods to deal with it. And here, some of it is the housing construction, because our houses are constructed to keep in
It's insulated, yeah.
Whereas in India, you have like really open floor plan, marble floors, so everything stays kind of cool. Here, I'm just like, I can't even lay on the floor and cool down.
Yeah, that's rough. Stay safe. If you need to step away to go and fan yourself somewhere, stand in front of an AC, by all means, do it. By all means,
I have one going now. Let me know if the background noise is destroying, and I'll go to push to talk.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's
I can't hear
loud.
it at all.
You should definitely turn it off.
Jesse's being an ass. I can't hear it at all. So no worries.
I just want to see like really oppressively sweaty Bronze, like, help me. Please.
Why is it?
I don't want to see her suffering. That's a Jesse. Come on now.
What? Someone has to be there to enjoy that, and that person's me.
Okay.
All
right. Okay. Sure.
Okay.
And then you don't get the long con, JP.
I don't.
Then out of nowhere, I'm like, I have air conditioning. Do you need?
Oh, you're gonna
come over? I got plenty of air conditioning. Plenty of room. You can just stop on by whenever you want, Bronze. Like, it's fine.
What is this? The Jesse system?
J. Judgment.
Oh.
E. Expectations.
Emotional
lower
manipulation.
them. Yes, absolutely. Emotional manipulation.
S.
You're very
Suffer.
Good. Yeah. And then another S. Savior. Yeah. Then I come in. I swoop in.
What's
I'm like,
the
but
last
I'm here for
E?
you. The last E is for
extraction. What are we doing here?
Extraction. Yep, that's right. The Jesse system.
Entrench. He entrenches himself in your life.
It could be. It could also be ew. It could also be enjoy. There's a bunch of
ew.
Yeah.
Ew. Why would I do that in my own system?
Extortion.
In my own system, chat.
There's a bunch of solutions there in chat. So yeah. I'm not going to read that one, Slickster or Stickster. We're just going to move forward. There's a lot going on in the old MCU world. We got WandaVision post-credit scene changing. We've got Shang-Chi trailers. We've got a brand new episode of Loki. We got a mid-season trailer that kind of has some more spoiler stuff. I'll say this. I don't know if you guys saw it. I had a handful of viewers reach out on Twitter and a couple people stop by during the stream chat. Apparently, we're too good at deciphering what happens in trailers, and we just straight
that's
up
true.
we just spoiled the fuck out of the most recent episode.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome for tuning in, dummies. Yeah. We spoiled it again.
Yeah. we're really good at that. We straight up called most things. I think Bronze and I are on similar wavelengths as well about episode 3, which we'll get into.
I want to let you know that I saw that text or that message and was like, "Oh my god, that's brilliant!" But then also the new trailer they just dropped today or whatever, I was like, "I think that's ruined." I'm like, "Oh, my fun is ruined."
Maybe could be. It could be. Well, let's start off with, because I didn't even know this was a thing until our resident newsman Reginald posted this on the old Twitters today.
Reginald Newsman.
Yeah, Reginald the 14th Newsman.
Lord Reginald Newsman of the Worcestershire Newsmans.
So Disney has changed the post-credit scene on WandaVision episode 9.
Wait, like right now you can just go watch the post, like they changed it?
Yeah, they straight up changed it. It's not massive changes. It looks to be most likely, from what I can tell, and we'll look at the images here. From what I can tell, it looks like they started filming the next Doctor Strange, and they edited all of the locales to match what they are going to show in Doctor Strange, potentially.
What do you mean by this?
They've got photos here before. This is on thedirect.com is who's reporting this. And we can take a look here. Let me blow this up. I don't know how to get rid of this sidebar. Oh, well. You can see right here, this is the original. And this is the updated. The tree line goes out a little bit darker. They also did some color grading on the image to match what I guess is going to be put into Doctor Strange potentially. You can also see here, there's some more color grading. They've also added a shit ton more trees to make it more woodsy in whatever was changed here.
What a very strange change.
Yeah. And then right here, you can also see more woodsy.
Minor to notice.
I don't know how someone noticed it, right? Like, I don't know how someone looked at that and was like, wait a minute, that's off.
There's more trees.
There's more trees. Yeah. It's a little crazy to see that stuff. I think that there was also, someone said that there was like, in the image, for some reason they don't have it here. In the image where they're floating across the water, there's something in the water that's like reflective that they were trying to show, but I don't know if that's here. But it's mostly just like color grading, and the surrounding scenery has been changed in the final episode post-credits. So that's a thing for those who care. I see both of you just dumbfounded. Trying to spot the differences.
So this is I can't say that this is real. This might be something worth playing, JP, just for people to see. Hold on, let me.
Is it the video
send you
of the
a
water?
Link. It's not a video of water. It's a video of something else that's utterly bizarre.
Okay.
I'll put it in our little call chat here.
Okay. Let's take a look-see.
So someone is saying this is in the post-credit scene for WandaVision. There is an updated. There's something in the background.
Oh, this is the disc thing in the background? Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, that's clearly just a silhouette of Doctor Strange. Here's the thing. It looks like a silhouette of Doctor Strange, but also I can't confirm that this isn't just an altered video.
No, I saw multiple people reporting this. And chat's also saying what I thought it was as well. Apparently it's an editing error. It's an issue with the editing.
I mean, here's the thing. It can be a lot of things, but it's straight up just, it looks like
it's right
the cape and everything. It just looks like it. I can understand why. This is how people see UFOs.
Yeah. This is definitely
it looks like Doctor Strange.
Yeah. But it looks like an editing mistake, or maybe maybe it's Doctor Strange. Maybe it's Doctor Strange. I think it would be pretty remarkable if the reason all this stuff was changed is because for the Doctor Strange movie, they redid this scene to better match what they wanted to use as the opening scene or a scene in the Maw of Madness.
What does that say about movie making or TV show making that we could all have watched a version of that scene and then they can just go back? Like, imagine if, okay, yeah, they put Doctor Strange into that, and that is the beginning of the Doctor Strange movie, and now they've changed the ending of this TV show.
Right.
That's crazy. There's like, we edited a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's George Lucasing everything, but it certainly is like something everything. Like it isn't one of those like, well, I thought the scene would be better if it had a dinosaur walking around in it. It's not that. It's like, oh, well, we're retconning this moment if anything, it's more like Blizzard, where it's like this new moment in a video game. We're going to change something in the past to make this moment cooler. That's like what it feels like. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm not against it.
Maybe they just couldn't get the locale to work for a scene they needed. Like maybe they were like, okay, so we're gonna have this like sort of stinger in the end of WandaVision, and then in Doctor Strange, we're gonna shoot this other scene there. And I think because they couldn't it wasn't initially Benedict Cumberbatch supposed to have a cameo in WandaVision.
That was
and then
the
they
rumor.
had to scrap
that.
Yeah, because of the pandemic. Then when they probably tried to use the location for whatever they had planned, they were probably like, oh, this would be better with X, Y, or Z here.
Yeah.
And then they added it and then just went back and changed it for continuity. That's my theory.
It's not the first time they've changed post-credit scenes, right? Because I think in like, was it? It's one of the first movies. It might be Iron Man 1. It might be Captain America.
True?
There might be something that like changed it. Well, they added the scene with Nick Fury, I believe, in like one of the releases to like set up the Avengers, I think. I want to say there's like some added scenes in, I think, the Blu-ray release or some shit like that. Was it Captain America, Chad?
Are you making this up?
No. As someone who recently watched it, I rewatched it specifically for that scene. I think it was either Captain America or Iron Man 1 where they added a scene to kind of discuss this.
You're telling me the scene at the end, like, I almost vividly recall watching, but I like seem to recall that at the end of Iron Man 1, there was a scene with Nick
Fury sitting on the couch.
Maybe it's Captain America.
Crazy?
Is it Iron Man? I gotta remember this down. Yeah, Tom Morello.
Yeah, that post-credit scene with Tom Morello, they took it out.
Tom Morello shows up.
That's why I knew it, and y'all thought I was crazy.
I'm trying to. It's in the Incredible Hulk. That's
there
what it
we
is.
Go.
It's in the I'm looking at it now on Google. It's in the Incredible Hulk after the movie, in the post-credit scene. General Ross is sitting in a bar or something like that, and Tony Stark approaches him and talks about the super soldier program that they created. The Incredible Hulk villain Abomination was put on ice for some reason, so that's why that's there.
Oh, interesting to bring that up today.
Yeah, Tony then tells Ross, we're putting a team together, teasing the eventual Avengers movie. I don't think that was there originally. I think that they added that in after the fact, chat, because Iron Man, the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton was out way before Iron Man ever was, if I recall correctly. The reason that no one knows that is because no one actually watches the Incredible Hulk in their their rewatch, because it's one of the less favorited movies. That was in the theaters. No, there's no way. It was definitely not always there, guys. There's no way that Iron Man showed up at the end of the Incredible Hulk in a bar scene.
I mean, maybe.
I doubt that was there. Yeah, that was added. But RDJ wasn't Iron Man yet. Okay. See, I think there's conflicting reports, which means that I'm correct, is what that means. Always.
Is that how that works?
That's how that works. Yeah, you can just claim that you're correct if there's any dissonance in the conversation.
I've been doing that wrong for years. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm fairly certain they tweaked something in one of the original movies. I think it was the Iron Man, but I might be misspoken. So, Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think it means really anything in the grand scheme of things, though. It's just they went back and changed some scenery. I'll be curious to see if that does pop up in the next Doctor Strange movie, though. Right?
What if it is Doctor Strange and people caught it? The weird reflection thing.
Could be. You never know. You guys want to talk about this Shang-Chi trailer?
The least Marvel trailer in the history of Marvel trailers? Yes.
Really?
Much.
Let's dive in. Okay, why is it the least Marvel trailer in the history of Marvel trailers?
I mean, most Marvel, like all the Marvel trailers up to this point have had like roughly the same cut. You know what I mean? Like they all feel the same. And this one doesn't. It feels like it is less of a, or I guess whoever edited it. We know. Here's what I'll say. It's very obvious this is a Marvel movie because there are moments in this trailer where all of a sudden there's like, oh, that's a dragon, and oh, that's like Abomination, and
Finding
things where it's like, oh yeah, no, this is clearly going to be Marvel. But the way they cut the trailer for like the first, I don't know, like we'll say 2/3 of this trailer, it felt like one of those old Jet Li trailers. You know what I mean? Like for the one or for all the, like, it feels different. The vibe feels different, and it feels just like a spectacular kung fu film, which is fine. I mean, that's the vibe of the movie, but it definitely has a different vibe to it. And also, you know, they're dropping like 10 rings things, but they're also just not mentioning the Mandarin at all, period.
Right.
Which is crazy to me because that's such a huge tie-in that I think people will be like, oh, that's interesting. But I guess they're going to save it for the movie? I don't know. It isn't bad. It isn't a bad trailer. I was like, oh, hell yeah, that man murdered a dude with a ring. That's sweet as hell. But it also does not feel like the way that they've been doing Marvel movie trailers for the last 10 years. Like that you can tell what a Marvel movie trailer is because it follows the same like pattern over and over and over again.
Yeah. I didn't think it was a bad trailer. I'm very curious because I'm curious if they're going to explain a lot of this shit, right? Like how deep they're going to go into the origins of all this, why the fuck a dragon exists and how a dragon exists, and if that's actually an alien like the dragon potentially exists in the comic. I think Fing Fang Foom is a straight up alien, right? So is that how dragons exist? I don't. That's also not Fing Fang Foom. So,
like, he also doesn't look like the dragon we saw. Like the dragon we saw.
They've already said, and I think also the Lego thing has already said it's not Fing Fang Foom. It's like,
I mean, also,
it's something else.
That dude looks goofy when you think about it.
He does.
When you think about the way Fing Fang Foom looks, he looks goofy. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, no, that's an alien. That's what definitely someone in the 60s was like, an alien dragon.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, the Great Protector.
I loved it.
You liked it? Yeah.
I loved it. I'm so excited. Okay, so first off, the dude that's playing like the dad is from Redcliffe.
Love him.
I don't know if y'all have seen that movie.
Great movie. Love that. Love him. I love him.
So I stand that man so hard. I love him. So getting him in a Marvel film is like such a because I've loved him since that movie. First time I watched the part 1 and part 2 of the international cut, which is a total of 6 hours. It's like almost Lord of the Rings level of long.
Jeez.
Y'all haven't seen the international edition of Redcliffe.
If you like the Dynasty Warriors. That's a great movie. Right? It's so, look, one of the greatest battles in the history of the world on film.
So good.
It's amazing.
Oh my God.
The Wind. Oh, that's all right, I gotta shut up.
No, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Everything about that movie is perfect. When they do their battle on the instruments, they do an instrument battle where they're like both just like shredding, but it's like all spiritual and stuff, and it gets like head, and it's like kind of like I'm gonna be honest, like kind of hot, where you're like, what's going on here?
I want to see the exact opposite of that movie. So
is this an anime?
Like,
is that
no, it's a live action version of like a famous
I know
Three Kingdoms battle, right?
Gotcha,
Which
okay.
is, if you don't know what the Three Kingdoms are, they're like mini games, mostly Dynasty Warriors. Wink, wink. July 1, a actual Dynasty Warriors movie comes to Netflix. I'm so hyped. It's gonna be ridiculous. It's gonna be ridiculous. Bodies are gonna one guy is gonna kill 1,000 dudes with one swing. I'm ready for it. I'm ready. Anyway, it's very cool. All the actors in it are very, very good. And one of the best actors from that film is the dad in this. Like, I have no doubt this movie's gonna kick ass. I'm ready for it.
Yeah. It looks very
But
good.
I'm really curious how they're gonna connect all of it to what's happening in the bigger world of Marvel. But I feel like Doctor Strange is the linchpin, right? It has to be. Because the crazier things in this movie can be linked to it's creepy Doctor Strange. You know what I mean? Let's get weird with it.
There's definitely someone from, I think I don't know if it's confirmed. It looks like Wong is fighting Abomination. It's definitely like a sorcerer fighting Abomination, and it kind of looks like Wong. I don't know if it is, but if you go to that
true?
If you go to the end, and yeah, he's definitely straight up doing sorcerer spells. Like he does a Doctor Strange thing to put up his shield to block the attack.
No, that does look like him.
But it also looks kind of like Wong. And if that's Wong, then there's your connection right there.
At 151,
yeah,
the back shot kind of looks like Wong. Yeah. Yep. Although I say that not really 100% convinced of it, but it kind of does.
It's also the type of thing where it's
haircut.
It's the type of thing where it's like, fat guy casting spells, got to be Wong, right? It's
not
necessarily.
No, I think that's a big part of it because he does the.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has all the effects and the color of the vestments. I think also bald head, so we might be seeing Wong where there is just another sorcerer.
Right.
Well, I'm so confused how that fits in, but also, I kind of want to see Abomination beat up a sorcerer, so I hope it's not Wong. Right? I want Abomination to be a fun villain instead of just I still suck.
It's
what I mean?
It's also one of those things of why the fuck is there a rogue sorcerer fighting Abomination in what looks to be like a Fight Club scenario, right? That's not something that I think those people sorcerers would do just for fun. So I don't know. Also, why is Abomination there? Is this just what he does? Right? Does he just go and fight people now?
Oh, you know what this is? This is definitely
maybe
Madripoor,
it's a forced thing.
Oh, this could be Madripoor. You might be right.
Right? This is Madripoor
I mean,
for sure,
the lighting looks like Madripoor, but I'm wondering if it's a debt thing or they were trying to buy and sell the Winter Soldier. What if somebody bought and sold Abomination? I mean, it could happen. We didn't know what they were going to do with the Winter Soldier. I know we were assuming, if you buy the codes to the Winter Soldier, you could assassinate whoever you want or put him in a cage and make him fight for money.
True.
I mean,
they could have said that was the intent all along.
This is just the seedier version of what happened to Hulk, right? Hulk ended up on another planet and they just put him into cage matches. Right. This is just the Abomination version. It's not nearly as cool and kind of seedy and sad. Abomination, right?
Sure. I hope it is some sort of
That's not going to help his self-esteem, Jesse. He's just the seedy, sad version of the Hulk.
Screw that guy and his back spikes. What an idiot. No one likes Abomination.
He's the we have Hulk at home. You know? Yeah. Not everyone Hulk. We have Hulk at home, and you get Abomination.
Hi, everyone.
Oh God. Sounds like the Cookie Monster is back from Venom.
That's every voice I do.
That's true. It's true.
Yeah. That's stereo bronze. I'm sorry, I'm lagging. I don't know why. It's probably the heat.
It's not the lag. It's the warping is happening. But we're talking over you as well. So it's probably on our fault. More so than yours. Chat keeps bringing it up. I'm curious. Do you think the Iron Fist gets mentioned at all in this movie? Do you think there's any we've got the 10 rings and there's also the Iron Fist, these type of ancient relic artifacts, blah, blah, blah. Do you think anything? I mean, there's a fucking dragon in here, which is what the Iron Fist is, right? There's so many ties to the potential of the Iron Fist.
They'll never mention it, but if they do mention it, it'll be one of those jokes that is just everyone in the audience is ha, they know it was bad. You know what I mean? Like, there's not gonna.
Where they have like a white guy fighting, and he's like, "What is he? Some kind of Iron Fist?" And then everyone just kind of looks at him, and then they just move on. Like, what
you know that's what it's. You know it's gonna be something like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, that was embarrassing for all of us. Like, let's move on.
Yeah.
Maybe.
A lot of people.
I feel like not really.
There's one person in chat that said that they believe his mom to be an Iron Fist, which I don't know if that's. I mean, who knows? Who knows? They can do really whatever they want.
I mean, we're still, again, the entire trailer was like 10 rings, 10 rings, 10 rings, 10 rings, 10 rings. Not once did anyone say Mandarin. Not once. So I'm very curious what that means. Like, it clearly has to be said in the, I don't know. I'm just waiting for like how Marvel is going to like create the you know, like, how do you resolve Iron Man 3 is what I'm getting at. Like, how do you go from Iron Man 3 to this?
Sure.
And set it up to be like, oh, you know, they have to acknowledge that like at some point there was some guy running around who's like, I'm an actor and I'm playing a character.
I hope maybe he like shows up and they have him assassinated or something, right? Like, maybe that's the only tie, is he just pops up. They got what was it? Ben Kingsley? That's the actor's name, right? Like, super famous
great actor.
Yeah.
Great actor. He was actually very funny in that role. It's shame that that's what they decided to do with that character, but like, it was cool as hell. But it also, you know, because in one of the shorts, they admit that there's a real Mandarin. They literally say, like, the real Mandarin's super pissed at you, bro. Like, you know, so they've set it up in universe to make sense. But for a movie audience,
yeah, how
do they make that, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or do they just not mention it?
Could be.
Have they ever made like any kind of statement yet on what they plan to do with the Netflix properties?
Nope. I think Feige is.
I don't know if they would
some stuff.
do that in a movie.
Yeah,
is my thing.
Feige, I think, is like, I don't think he's ever committed one way or the other. He definitely acknowledges their existence constantly, and I think that gets brought up a ton whenever he does any like sort of press. But the multiverse issue might just like solve that, and he could just be like, that was one version of the MCU. This is ours.
The problem is,
because
go for it, Bronze.
Oh, sorry. I feel so bad because my weird mic stuff. I feel like I get to like bring my gavel down and stop everything.
Don't worry about it. Not a big deal.
Yeah, whatever.
I feel like they've strategically tiptoed around every single Netflix property while they figure out what to do with it, or while they explain it away with the multiverse. Because, you know, despite the Spider-Man being in New York and stuff, there's been not even so much as an Easter egg, you know, alluding to Daredevil.
Yeah.
And so I feel like some of that, you have to start to wonder if they're trying, if that was them trying to sidestep and not either like, I don't know. And then especially with how they handled Quicksilver being in WandaVision, that also leads, because I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of bitch made. The way they were just they wrote in their own loophole to be like,
you're right.
Like, I was like, man, commit one way or another. I felt like they very much were like, we're not sure, or we're gonna answer this in Multiverse of Madness, but we're gonna put this in to appease the fans, and then we're gonna go back and have this cop out and say that it doesn't have anything to do. It's just a coincidence. And I was like, I don't necessarily think that it's necessary that's gonna be a coincidence. There's a lot of thought, like a lot of schools of thought on like what that could mean or how they're gonna explain in the future. But up until now, they've always kept it to where they could retract anything at any point in time and kind of be like, well, that was, you know, and I don't know if by mentioning Iron Fist, they would kind of be canonizing it.
Maybe.
You're right. Also, the thing that I think is interesting is, and I was looking for it just now, but I don't know. Needless to say, word is that, at least what I know, is that Marvel owns the characters, but not the content that was created at Netflix.
At Netflix, yeah.
So
it might be a licensing
that's why
issue.
they have to like, beat around the bush a little bit because they can have Charlie Cox back, but everything that happened to Charlie Cox they can't say happened, if that makes any sense, unless they pay for it.
Yeah. And that's probably,
I think they might show the actor.
Well, yeah,
They
the actor
might,
can show up. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if they would specifically say Iron Fist.
Netflix is definitely not going to let that go away cheaply, right? Like they know Netflix isn't dumb, right? They know in a lot of ways. But we'll see, right? Like I think eventually Marvel is going to have to address that at some point. Like it has to be addressed. I mean, we're getting into potential areas of like the hand existing. If they have like in the MCU and if there's the hand in the MCU and Elektra's not somehow involved, like what the fuck are we really doing here?
The hand sucks. Can we stop it? Stop involving the hand. The
hand was awful in Netflix. I think the hand could be sick as fuck.
The hand sucks.
I think the hand could be sick as fuck. But
no, they're not sick. They suck. They're terrible. The hand is never cool.
Jesse's anti-hand. Cool. Jesse's anti-hand.
It's never cool. I'm anti-hand.
Okay, I'm not the biggest hand fan, but I'm very pro Elektra.
Elektra's great.
She's so cool.
Elektra's pretty cool. I thought she was great in the Netflix show as well. I thought she was fine.
Yeah, and she had a solo run shortly.
Well, that's a frozen bronze. That's an
awkward face right there.
Hot potato PC right there.
She's like kind of angry, but like thinking about the anger.
Oh, she's back. She's back. Hello.
You're back.
Hot
Sorry. PC. It's not even hot PC. I think it's like my fiber cables are on the side of the house that's getting the sun right now, and I think they might actually just be melting.
That's probably true. I've definitely had a
technology.
I've definitely had a ISP agent tell me that it's too hot right now for the cables, so your internet's going to be shitty. So could very well be true. Could very well be true. Anyways, we'll keep an eye on it. You're talking about Elektra. Do you want to finish your statement?
Yeah, what were you saying about Elektra? That you love Elektra and that you are a huge fan of the Jennifer Garner Elektra, I think is what you said?
No.
I think that's what came through.
That's what I heard. You said you love when Jennifer Garner fought Ben Affleck on a seesaw. It's one of your favorite scenes.
Yep.
And you think about it often? I think that's what you said.
Yeah, and then Bullseye by the... God damn it, I can't remember that actor's name because he doesn't do anything. He was in Bruges. A famous actor of In Bruges.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell is Bullseye. Shows up in the MCU.
Right when he's like bald and he has a little thing in his head.
Yep.
And remember that?
Yep.
I heard you love that.
That's
and then you love the solo movie.
There is a scene in that movie there's a scene in that movie that me and my brother used to do to each other when we were kids to troll each other. And anytime we would like make a shot or like throw something at each other and just bounce it right off the head, we'd always be like, bullseye, yeah, bullseye. Because he does the stupid scene in that movie where he literally points at his own bullseye.
I hate both of you.
Motherfucker points.
I hate both of you because I had erased that movie from my memory. And now it's back.
Now you got to watch it.
And now it's back.
You got to watch it again.
Now it's fucking back. And like Evanescence is once again coming back into my life.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wake me up. Yeah.
Jesus. The 90s are just like roaring back into my fucking brain.
I can't wake up.
That movie is that movie on, I wonder if that movie's on Amazon as a watch party.
Hopefully it is not on anything. Hopefully that movie is where it deserves to be, in the bargain bin of like a closed down blockbuster.
I don't think it is.
No way. That movie sucks.
I don't think it's terrible. On watch parties.
Garage sale somewhere.
Yeah. God, that movie's rough. That movie's rough.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. I just like Elektra. I like the moral quandary she poses to Daredevil. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I don't think it's strong enough to have her own spin-off. The solo series in comics was pretty good. It's hard to translate to the big screen, but do I think a fun and challenging love interest for the Daredevil? 100%, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting into the world of Madripoor, right? Like if the Hand or Elektra or there's a lot of facets of that world that they just have to do, or it's going to be a little bit weird for me.
They're not gonna do the hand. It's not happening.
You don't think
I'm letting you know it's not happening. Zero hand.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Going back to the trailer real quick. Watching all these different frames in slow motion. I think the rings, the way that they're handling the rings is not rings, but rings on the arm. I think they look fucking sick. I'm a huge fan of how they're being used in a lot of these action scenes in this trailer. I think they look really cool.
They're so cool.
And like, there is this weird thing that happens at the end when they're doing like a fucking Dumbledore Harry Potter standoff thing, which is kind of strange. And like, of course that's gonna happen, but yeah, it's a little.
I like that it was elemental. Have you noticed like how much it's like elemental, where it's like you see his mom like kind of being an airbender, and then at one point you see him like messing with water. And then they like bring that in at the end of the trailer where his dad's like, or where he's like fire, and then his dad's like kind of like ice, and they're both like, shh.
Yep, it looks cool. That's the scene I'm looking at.
I'm sold, chat. I'm sorry. As soon as they started fighting on bamboo scaffolding, I just went back to every kung fu film I've ever watched and been like, yes, 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 yes. Fight each other on bamboo scaffolding and people falling and catching themselves just barely, and then having to like block blows while trying to climb back up. I want it.
It's true. I meant
that is my favorite.
There's a Jackie
90s...
Chan cameo. I die.
Yes,
that's it.
That's
it. I die in the movie theater. It's over.
One of the best 90s tropes of every Jackie Chan movie is no matter where he was, the Bronx, in like there was bamboo scaffolding. Didn't matter where. Bamboo scaffolding. Yeah.
Random.
I love that.
Random aside about Rumble in the Bronx. First R-rated movie I ever saw in the theater, Rumble in the Bronx. Also, the scene where they put the people into the wood chippers, still remember it to this day, and it still fucks with me. I'm still not a fan of that scene, because they straight up shove some bodies into the wood chipper, and they don't shy away from like what that does to a human body, right?
I can't stress this enough. For those of you who were not, or like were too young to see it in the theater at the time, or just were not alive at the time. When that movie came out, like me as a kid, all my friends, that was the first time we had been like given a kung fu flick on like in theaters that everyone was like, this is the one you got to see.
Yeah.
It like changed us. After
totally.
that, every little one of us were like kung fu movie stars. We were just like running around beating the crap out of each other.
People in wood chippers just nonstop. You're super into that?
Those were the bad guys. No one wanted to be the bad guy. You want to be Jackie Chan. At the end of that movie, when Jackie Chan was doing his own stunts, it blew your mind. That was the best part of that movie. As a little kid, you were like, oh my God, superheroes are real. That was amazing. Oh yeah. That was such a good moment. I love that. That started a lifelong career of being like, I love you, Jackie Chan. I will watch all of your movies.
Yeah.
And then they were like, do you know this Jet Li guy? And you're like, oh my God. Right? Oh yeah.
So I would have been.
And they just start like, oh.
I'm
the
curious.
90s. Y'all missing out. The 90s, early 2000s.
Oh. I was curious when that movie actually came out, so I could see how old I was. I was 9 years old when I saw that movie in the theater.
Jackie Chan Adventures. Oh my God, that was great.
Yeah,
it's
good.
I think like I probably saw Rush Hour maybe like 12 times before my dad was finally like, I have my limit. I remember like the whole like
watching it over and over.
Yeah, because I got it like on DVD or something as a gift, and I would watch it like just about every day. I would watch Rush Hour. I was just obsessed with that film for a period of my life.
That was me, but with Rush Hour 2. I think I've seen Rush Hour 2 about 12 billion times. For some reason, I like it better than the first one because they're already friends. And so, like, I don't have to sit through them, like, becoming friends again. I can just watch them be friends and, like, buddies. And holy crap, that bit where he's like, she's not going to be in Rush, or, like, he's not going to be in Rush Hour 3. That shit cracks me up to this day. What a great line. What a great movie. I love everything about that.
Silly.
So good.
Silly.
Rush Hour 2 is a fantastic film.
All right.
Fantastic.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Watch it again. You'll be like, next week, you'll be like, you guys are right.
If we're talking
a perfectly made movie.
If we're talking old movies, if this is the rabbit hole we're going down through, I recently watched City Slickers. with Billy Crystal.
Yeah.
Why?
That is a
hold
deep
on.
cut.
Now
How did you get there and not Shanghai Noon? How did that happen? We were talking about Jackie. How'd you end up in a Western?
We were talking about
Billy
old
Crystal?
movies that influenced us as children. For me,
how are we not talking about, because it's related somehow? I don't know how. How are we not talking about the infamous Jackie Chan Jet Li combo movie Forbidden Kingdom, where Jackie Chan plays a drunk, like drunken fighter? Oh my God,
that's true.
What is happening right now?
That's true.
How are we on City Slickers?
Well,
JP,
there's also one job. There's also a great tie in here if we want to move over to Loki. Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson did a movie together, if you remember
Shanghai
correctly.
Noon.
Yeah.
I was just talking about it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's, you brought it up, and I remembered that Owen Wilson was in that movie as well. So let's use that as a transition, and we'll jump over to Loki.
Now my brain is on Drunken Master, but I'm gonna try to get it on Shanghai Noon.
Okay. All right. Laser focus here, Bronze. Laser focus. Let's talk about episode 3 of Loki, and then afterwards talk about this mid-season trailer and see if we can deduce what is happening throughout the rest of this show. So fan reaction to episode 3 titled Lamentus. I feel like a lot of people were pretty down on this episode from what I saw. I think it was maybe split. I think split is probably a fairer way of doing that.
Who are you? Where are you getting your information from?
A lot of people didn't like this episode. They thought it was just straight filler. That not much was.
I thought this episode was great.
I thought it was great. I'm in camp great.
Great.
I'm in camp great. A lot of people said it was slow, that it was kind of filler. I thought it was great. I thought we got a ton of backstory. I think if Sylvie doesn't make it out of the show, I'm going to be very upset. I think she's a fantastic character. I was super into her. Thought everything was great. But a lot of people thought it was filler, for sure. And I get it. Like, I can't argue that.
Strongly disagree.
Those
people are dumb names.
Okay. All right. We're writing those people off.
Disagree more.
Okay.
Yes. Written off. I no longer address them.
Okay.
To those who hated it, you are unreachable. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened to you to make you hate two actors having the time of their life. Their chemistry was perfect.
It was great. I
they
could
were
not agree
amazing.
More.
The last 5 minutes, that Steadicam shot, it was one shot, you nerds. That was amazing.
Well,
that was so cool.
I mean, it's a little unfair because this entire episode was basically a green screen show, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I thought some of the shots they did in this were fucking incredible.
Well, JP, I don't want to spoil this for you, but there is no Lamentus. It does not exist.
Oh, shit. Why would you do that? Why are you destroying?
They sadly could not film on location. I'm so sorry.
I feel like there wasn't one real.
Destroyed.
I feel like there wasn't one real set in this entire episode. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying it was definitely all blue or green screen. But at the same time, there were a lot of amazing cinematography shots where the one where they were super fucking tiny and they were walking with Lamentus as like the giant background and the moon slowly starting to explode and everything. I thought that was fantastic. And you also nailed it, Jesse. I think the chemistry between the two was almost better than Owen Wilson and Loki in a lot of ways, just because they were in scenes that were maybe a little bit more, they were more fun. They were able to have more fun in these scenes, right? They weren't breaking down what the TVA is. They were just talking about themselves and kind of doing some character exposition. And I thought all that exposition was great.
Yeah, it gave them time to, obviously they're on the run, but them in the train, it gave them time to talk, and the conversation was great. It was about, mom. It was about being adopted. It was about their power. Things that, here's the spoiler, every one of us wanted to know.
Yeah.
Whether you were thinking about it or not, you wanted to know the differences between the two. All of us did. That's part of the reason why, that scene was so great. And they included it. And there's a lot of things in here that I think Bronze will get at that are, suspicious.
Yeah.
But, I'm not sure what to make of this episode yet. I think we need context for the next episode, because this one ends with a cliffhanger that, it's a cliffhanger, but how is it a cliffhanger? You know what I mean? There's something up, but I'm not sure what. So I have no clue. And we'll see.
We also saw, I think this is going to lead into what Bronze is probably going to talk about in terms of what she brought up in DMs. But we also saw like a little bit of a power push for what Loki can do. Like he straight up stopped a building from falling, which has never really been done before. Which also I think could potentially lead into the theory that none of this is essentially real. But like we had not seen that amount of power before from Loki in a lot of ways. But yeah, I think Bronze, this would probably be a good point to introduce your theory as to what is happening in this episode, and also
right.
maybe
well, I
before
think
that,
it's a
just
pretty
talk about
commonly
what you
held
thought.
theory.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like it's a pretty commonly held theory. But what's interesting to me is like I think so when you have a 6-episode series where you're on episode 3 and the two sort of like main characters you're trying to establish rapport between them have been on camera together for a total of 8 seconds. Okay, maybe a little bit longer than that. The reality is like, how are we supposed to get invested in her and what happens to her if we don't get to spend any time on camera with her? This is like the Walking Dead problem where the characters we're invested in linger on for season after season after season, but then they'll introduce a character and kill them off within 6 episodes, and you just don't feel anything.
Right.
So, like, we haven't spent any time on camera with her. Like, it's for her to charm us. So, I don't think that was it. The other thing is, like, this episode had a little bit of everything. There was, like, a little bit of chemistry, or a lot of bit of chemistry. There was a cool action sequence in the beginning. There was a cool action sequence at the end. It on one hand, it's like I just don't know how to like. I don't think it was super filler because it was the shortest episode. I could understand if it was 50 minutes of that, but it was actually very short. So I think people that are saying it's filler are more so projecting their upset that there's only 3 episodes left and they probably wanted to move further along the plot in this, and that's okay. That just means you really like the show. But I think we're not talking about Bleach or Inuyasha. I don't think that this counts as filler, but
we
I
haven't
get
caught
it.
up to the
I'm
manga
there
yet.
with
Is
you.
that what you're saying?
Right. Like, I understand you. There's only 6 episodes. I'm getting anxiety too, but I don't think like a 25-minute episode can be filler to me. Like, it's silly. But yeah, okay. So my theory is that when she first touches his face and says, oh, I guess it doesn't work on you, that it worked. And that she says it didn't work to stroke his ego, because this entire thing has been about his ego, like since the outset.
Right.
She's like, oh, well, it only works on weaker minds, and your mind is so strong, senpai, so I guess it would never work on you. And then he starts asking her about how his power, or how her powers work, and she kind of neglects to mention initially. Then later in the episode, when she is talking about it, she talks about how she fabricates a sort of memory for them that's comfortable when she's trying to like sort of enchant somebody's mind that is a little bit more powerful or has a stronger brain. And that kind of falls in line with everything going their way to get on the train, because that entire scene just seems so freaking stupid, where it's like, I'm going to dress as the guard and they're going to let me through. And it's like, this is that scene where your party's trying to make a charisma check and you're just like, how is this going to go over? And so much of that too, to me, felt like it worked because she said it worked. And when it didn't work, it's because she didn't want it to work. And I feel like the entire episode was set up for her to probe how his magic works, who he is, where he's from. And as we all know, he loves to talk about himself. Like, this has been a main talking point from episode 1. Like, Loki loves to talk about himself. He could talk about himself all day long. He loves to talk about himself. Where Sylvie's a lot more reserved with information, right?
Yeah.
She even says, like, the mission comes first. She's not as boastful and arrogant. I have a theory that, like, this entire thing is sort of to extract information, because we come out of it knowing a lot more about Loki than we do about Sylvie, even though we were looking for more information about Sylvie, which, once again, I was a little frustrated when it was happening for the same filler reasons, where I'm like, well, where are we going to get the Sylvie lore drop? And then it kind of clicked in my head where I was like, or she's just pulling a Black Widow and very intelligently extracting information from this guy by allowing him to talk about himself and seeing how he operates and therefore seeing his weaknesses. Like she kind of goes to sleep and then sees him get drunk and create a scene. And I feel like the entire thing is her just kind of like trying to poke and see where the weak spot is, and take advantage of how full he is of himself, that even the entire conversation about love and all of that, I thought that was interesting, because I think it's once again her trying to probe whether or not, that's a value she can that he holds or not,
right?
Or if it's just something that gives him amusement from time to time.
Could
this
be.
Is here's the thing
with him stopping the falling building. I was like, there wasn't even a green effect when it happened, where I was like, I feel like that just didn't fall because she's the DM and this is a campaign she's constructed, and she wants to see how capable he is, whether or not she can trust him, whether or not he'll follow her to her goals. I think she wants to flip him to her side from the TVA's side. And I think she's constructed all of this to kind of see that, especially when he says, couldn't you just possess me and then make me wonk? And she's like, no, that's not really how it works. And he's like, oh, well, then how does it work? And she's like, it's complicated.
I mean, here's the thing. This is a fantastic idea, Bronze. I feel like this falls into the category of every thought we had for the last show and for WandaVision. It's too cool for Marvel. It's too cool for the MCU. What you just said is awesome. I love the idea. I don't want to be that guy because I already am spoiled in the fact that I watched that dumb trailer. But in this episode, she takes her horns and tosses it. In the clip we see in this new mid-season trailer, they're back in the TVA and she doesn't have her horns, which means it's still, unless that's still part of the mind manipulation,
that would be
them
wild.
Getting recaptured.
Yeah.
Then I feel like this is an awesome idea that, again, Marvel would never do because it's too complicated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I love it. Here's the thing. I love that idea. I think that is such a creative way to not only display her powers, but also show the that while Loki may be all these things, he doesn't have this one power that that's why she has, she might not have all his other skills, but she has this one power that's so much more powerful than him. That it's fascinating. There's no way Marvel would do this. There's no way. It's just when everyone was like, "Oh my god, don't you understand? This is what's happening in WandaVision." It's no, that was just Ralph. It's never as cool as we want it to be, ever,
right?
Ever. Which is why when you messaged, I was like, "This is the coolest idea." There's no way this is what's happening. I was like, "This is so neat." There's no way.
I guess the thing I'm wavy on is how much of it is enchantment. I know I said I think when she first touches him and says it worked, I don't know if how much of that is the enchantment stuff, and how where it might kick in the episode and where it might drop off. Well, but I think if the TVA shows up to save them, that kind of refutes their own theory that they can hide out in apocalypse events.
Well, maybe it's because Owen Wilson, Mobius, knows now.
Yeah.
But how would he know that one? The thing that's interesting, this is the thing that I really...
random.
I mean, and that's what I think is interesting. The thing that I'm curious about, and this was sent to us as we started this conversation, this was sent to me. It was, hey, go back and watch The Building Fall. And I was like, okay, so I'm literally on Disney Plus right now looking at it. And as the building falls, Loki turns around and he does a thing with his hands and the building goes back up. If you watch that building go back up, the smoke goes back up with it.
Someone is saying it's time stony.
It seems like a time stone thing. I'm watching it on repeat right now. He does a thing with his hands and the smoke goes back up into the building.
Which time stone would work outside of the TVA if he did take it.
It's an interesting graphical thing to include.
Right.
If you're just pushing the building away, the smoke could still I don't know.
His magic doesn't necessarily work like that, right?
Yeah, or it's just easier to edit it. Like, like sometimes a waterfall goes backwards in movies. Like that happens from time to time. But like, I don't know.
I mean, that would be pretty remarkable. Again, I to go with what Jesse said, I think this is way too cool of an idea for Marvel to ever use.
It is.
But I
It's
think it would
super
be
neat.
remarkable is if like he got that time stone and all of this shit happens and he just reverses time. And he moves forward as part of the TVA and like
I mean,
none of this
that
happens.
would be fabulous. And I think he would also neglect to mention that to Sylvie to number one, see if she betrays him because he plays his own mind games. And number two, I don't think he would want her to know he has a stone. But Jesse,
true.
you did mention, and I also noticed like back in episode 1, you hear the thunk of one of the stones being dropped back in, but you don't see him put it back. So we've kind of been wondering if he pocketed a time stone from the outset.
Right.
But it also just feels like I'm not sure Disney would do. I'm not sure they would do that.
I mean, it would make sense for a second season if like Loki goes rogue and has a time stone. Who needs those little fucking battery operated devices if he's got a fucking infinity time stone, right? Like,
But the time stone doesn't teleport you.
well,
That
sure,
was the purple
sure.
one.
Right, you're right.
The
it
old
only does
purple
time.
one teleports you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's true.
I guess. I mean, again, we have 3 episodes left, right? 3.
Yep.
Yep. I don't know how we get from end of reality to Loki for president in 3 episodes, unless Loki for president is like the last episode. And that's like, you caught me again. See you next season. Like that kind of vibe. Like, I don't know what happens.
I think it's like
with
a gag.
some of the yeah.
I think it's gonna be like a very small nod to a comic book series, and just
like
a
the
cute
DB
bit,
Cooper
and that's
line
it.
or bit.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna be as big as we think it's gonna be. I think it's just gonna be every time, and like there's also that scene where like a ship falls from the air and all of that. So I think it could literally just be something where it's like
that shows up in the we can kind of move forward a little bit and talk about the post the mid-season trailer, because that ship shows back up in the mid-season trailer, as well as a handful of other things, which we could go frame by frame again and kind of spoil it if you want to, or we can leave it alone. But that trailer definitely shows a lot of stuff. Jesse kind of mentioned some of the things that it does show already.
Yeah, and it definitely shows a whole scene of them being recaptured. And they both look like they were pulled from this world. How this happens, how any of it makes sense, beyond me. I don't know. But it looks like they're recaptured.
I think the next episode starts, and for a very long time, we follow Mobius after what happened in the grocery store. We follow what Mobius is doing all this while they're on Lamentus. And then either at the end of the episode or halfway through the episode, Mobius like saves them in some way. And that's the end of episode 4. Episode 5 is them convincing Mobius that the TVA is fucked up, and then he's a variant who likes jet skis from the 90s and kind of convinces him that, like, you know, he's not always been working for the TVA. Because the other big reveal in this episode, which we haven't mentioned yet, is the idea that the TVA agents are all variants, right? Like, that's how they came to be. Sylvie says as such, and I think we said as such as a guess last episode. So I think that's episode 5, and then episode 6 is them like, I don't think they dismantle the TVA, but I think they definitely like win somehow as the 3 of them, and they get away, and then that sets up something big. I don't know what it is though.
I'm waiting for. I mean, we don't know why Sylvie's doing what she's doing,
right?
And
we still don't know. You're right.
You know, if we're in crazy territory, I'm still putting it out there until I'm proven wrong. Kang. We
have some idea of why she's doing what she's doing, because we see that child in the mid-season trailer, and she mentions that there's a small girl, there's a small child being led into the TVA in cuffs, or being led by guards in cuffs.
That is in the mid-season trailer. You're right.
Like and I was like, oh, that's kind of a big spoiler, but I bet like the reason she doesn't talk about half of her life is because I think they've been trying. I don't think she was ever supposed to exist. I think they've been trying to delete her since she was like 8. which is why she's so much more
Oh.
proficient than Loki is, because it looks like she escaped them when she was a kid and has been escaping them ever since, which kind of makes us wonder, like, they've been after her for a while then, right?
Could be.
I don't know. That kid thing to me is very fascinating because I don't think they've been chasing her for that long. I think they
Are you sure?
bamboozled her, had her work for them, and she's been a renegade for a long time, and that's why she doesn't have, because everyone at the TVA just doesn't have much to say about their family. And doesn't she mention that, like,
they're probably brainwashed?
She's an orphan.
She's been running. She says she's been running from the TVA for like her entire life.
Yeah, but I wonder if like they also removed stuff. Because I think she says, like, oh, like she asks Loki what his mother was like and all that. And I'm like, I wonder if they caught her, reprogrammed her. And that's why she knows so much about how they work.
That she was like a former TVA agent and got out and like reprogrammed herself? Like a former Loki incident, potentially?
Yeah. It's one theory. The only thing that conflicts with it in my mind is that she had to capture a TVA agent to ask them where the timekeepers are.
Yeah.
So I think that's a bit off. But the fact that she knows so much about the TemPad, knows that it's called the TemPad, knows how to charge a TemPad, knows how the squads are deployed and how to remove them, that kind of tells me she knows a lot about the TVA. Now, that could be because she's been running from them for 20 years.
Yeah.
That's not at all it.
Uh-oh.
It's because she's the other agent. When Mobius goes to see whatever her name is, the lady in charge, you got all these gifts from someone, and she doesn't mention who. It's because Sylvie is the other agent. She's
the
and she just
favorite?
went rogue.
Oh,
Yeah.
She's the favorite.
And that's why
She
she's
went
so
rogue.
apprehensive about it, because it already happened to her.
Yeah.
So
She knows
the thing
everything, and
is,
she got out.
That's like the only thing that conflicts with that theory, that because she knows altogether too much about how they operate, is that she had to abduct a random field agent to learn the location of the timekeepers. That's the only thing that conflicts with that theory.
You're right.
Because like if she's that high level, why, and she's perfectly poised to deal with Renslayer, why wouldn't she just like take Renslayer hostage and tell her,
I'm back
like
on Loki.
There's some,
Loki's the other one.
There's just some, because I've had this thought process where I'm like, I don't know, she seems to know a lot about how they operate.
Yeah.
And she seems to know a lot about how just like they all have memories prior to the TVA. And then her saying she's an orphan or whatever. Maybe she is. Or maybe her memories got deleted because she was supposed to be an agent herself.
Mega R makes a great point that makes a lot of sense. And this idea that we think she's a former TVA agent. She didn't know that you couldn't use magic in the TVA when she infiltrates.
Right.
You're if she was, she would know that.
Yeah,
So,
I'm back on Loki being the other agent, and he just doesn't know that he's already an agent. I'm back on that train.
Yeah.
Could be.
Man, this is the thing is,
yeah,
is that
she tries to enchant that guard.
Yeah, and it
You're
doesn't
right,
work.
Yeah,
it doesn't work because this is one of those shows where they goof around with time and they play with time, and they literally said that agent was 100 years old because time is a thing. We have to assume that we are in the territory of like weird Tenant shit, right? Where it's like past is future, bro. Future's past.
Right.
And so who knows what's about to happen here? I
don't know if they're going to try to, like, Marvel's been pretty careful about not trying to confuse their audience when it comes to time travel. Like,
that's because they understand that like kids are watching too. It's very Star Warsy.
Right.
Like you can't get too crazy.
I don't think they can get that crazy with it for that very reason. Otherwise, it's just going to confuse so much of their audience.
Or Kang. What if we just
I think Kang is Mephisto. I think Kang is this show's Mephisto. I really do.
Are you telling me Kang is Mephisto, JP? Are you saying right now on the MC Crew that Kang is Mephisto? Oh
yes.
My God.
Yes. 100%.
Time for another thumbnail.
Okay, good. There you go, Reggie. Capture that. Yeah.
How that's the biggest awful
Cat
clickbait.
saying that
Kang
Mobius-
is Mephisto?
Chat is saying, well, Mobius doesn't know where the timekeepers are. Objection. He's never met them. That doesn't mean he doesn't know how the elevator gets to them.
Yeah.
He might know, and he's just never met them.
So at 58 seconds into that mid-season sneak peek trailer,
not to make me go look.
Renslayer is definitely walking into the room with them. She is without a doubt. We're going to see the timekeepers in some way, or some form, or a voice, or something. Because she opens a door, walks into a room. There's a shit ton of fog, and she looks scared shitless. So either this is the room with the timekeepers in it, or this is like her walking into a room that they have said is like a meeting point or something, and she's freaking out about that. I think it's timekeepers.
How much you want to bet this is definitely going to be we go see the timekeepers, and they are either in like weird ass stasis, or they're super dead, or this is like, if there are timekeepers, they are not like, hello, we're the weird space lizards, and we're plotting time.
I don't
know
be that at all. I don't know like what it.
There's no way.
I don't know what it's going to be.
Things like they've died hundreds of years ago, and we're just sort of winging it. Like, right? That's like one of which is why there's like no logical sense to what happens with the TVA, because there's no one calling the shots. They're just like making it up as they go along.
I don't know what they show for that. If they
Here's
just
the thing,
straight up show like 3 lizard dudes, and they like send out some sort of commandment, and she just like turns and walks away out of that room, I'll be fucking shocked.
If there are 3 lizard dudes, I will personally pay for a logo change for us to become 3 lizard people in the logo up above. I will pay for that to happen. Right, if there are, which there will not be,
Zook is not cheap. I'll say that much.
I will make that change. I will be like, we need 3 lizard versions of ourselves. Thank you very much.
Okay. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Someone had a big brain theory that I don't think is real. This is one of those too cool for Marvel things. I'd be super into the idea that the 3 timekeepers are Mobius, Loki, and Sylvie. That they somehow like coordinated this entire effort at the end of time because they realized that this shit actually is real. And I don't know why they would go against the like sacred timeline thing, right? Like that's what confuses me a little bit, but it's a little too wild, I think. But it'd be cool. I don't think it's real though.
The best part about this is knowing that all the things we're coming up with are like way cooler than what it's actually going to be.
Yeah.
We all know it's not going to be even remotely as cool as this, which is so sad because like the last 2 shows have set me up to be like, oh yeah, the ending is going to be like whatever.
We have gotten a lot right though. Like we called the idea that they're all variants, and that was said in episode 3. That also explains why he's so fascinated with jet skis, because he probably owned a jet ski, or he was a jet ski salesman or something, right? Like that was definitely something from his past. But I don't know what our big call is for this next episode. I don't know what the the prediction is.
Like, I guess there's also the way of looking at it, like because of like WandaVision, for example, we thought it was going to lead to some bigger overarching thing, but it's really just about Wanda dealing with her shit.
Yeah.
And this is called Loki. And I imagine this is Loki dealing with his shit. So,
but like, what is his shit? He doesn't have like or he doesn't necessarily need. There's no trauma right now that he's dealing with. He's dealing with the TVA. Like that's the driving force.
But also we're talking about a Loki who has not had the experiences of the other Loki. Like he's still Thor 1 Loki.
But then what is the
or Thor 2 Loki?
Yeah, Thor 2 Loki, right? What is the
Thor 1 still? I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
No, it's Thor 2. Thor 2 happens before Avengers, right?
No.
Thor 2 happens after Avengers.
Yeah. So this is still Thor 1 Loki.
Right, because Thor 2 has his mom dying. So yeah, it's Thor 1 Loki. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
And so, he's still an asshole. So he doesn't quite have the character growth that he had, which I've actually heard a lot of people, one of my very good friends is very upset about this because he's like, they're negating years of growth and they're just making Loki do it all over again.
No, they fast forwarded that growth in the first 2
right,
episodes.
But they're like, my friend was like, that sucked. That's crappy that they're doing that to this character where it's like the show is he relearns all the things he learned over several movies, which, I can understand that it's like a critique, but I'm curious.
Yeah, why wasn't that episode called filler when we just watched an entire recap of his timeline in the MCU for like 10 minutes because the episode was longer, so you didn't perceive it as filler.
Plus, there was a lot in there that was like,
You're still stuck on
right?
this filler comment.
But I think there's just
a
lot of
that word gets overused.
Sure, I get it. I understand.
But there's a lot of character stuff that we're seeing Loki meet another Loki and judge himself based on her, and seeing how he interacts with, like, we're watching a character grow who's a little bit different than the one we saw before. And even as Loki grew in the movies, he still kind of was an ass even in Thor 3, right? He still was trying to betray Thor. And so I'm curious what this Loki's differences will be and how he grows as a character, and if he grows as a character, right? We still don't know what the end game is. Again, I still have the screen pulled up at 35 minutes, 24 seconds in this episode. The dude literally rewinds a building. I'm watching it again. The smoke goes back up into it. I think he does have a time stone. And so he's long conning everyone. So has he changed? Is he a bad guy still? I don't know. I have no clue where the show goes.
I don't know what his end goal of using that time stone would be, though.
He would just have an Infinity Stone. Like
That's just a power that he has now. Like, he can go talk shit, learn a shit ton of things about the Keepers. The Keepers could try to kill him, and he could just be like, "No, fuck you." Then he just goes back.
Yeah, he has. Obviously, it's not going to help him there, but if you can get out.
Oh, hold on.
The world.
Chat just had a big brain moment that triggered my brain. Okay. Big brain moment, chat. He's got a time stone. In one of the trailers, we saw that Loki is in Asgard once again. What if he uses the time stone the reason he pocketed it was to save his mom. He goes back, gets to Asgard, uses the time stone by getting there from one of those little portal things, saves his mom, and then rules Asgard as if Thor 3 never happened.
Let me ask you a question. What is the timeline of episode 1? Does he find the stone before he sees those things happen or after? Because my assumption was he found the stone before, and so he wouldn't know about that.
No, it's after. There's two things. He learns about his mom's death before, and then he learns more about it when he gets put back in that room, I think. So I think it's after.
Oh, yeah. And that's when he sees Thanos, like, choke him out or whatever.
Yeah, he learns about his own death later. But he learns about his mom's death first.
So he very much can be like, I'm going to go save my mom. Because that is the only person that, like, he really likes and loves. So I think that's interesting.
Which was underlined in this episode, too.
Right, totally.
Yeah.
His mom taught him everything, right? Like how to exist and how to use the magic. It was a big focus for sure.
As he says, like, he looked upon the way he talks about her is not how he talks about anyone else. Everyone else is an idiot and a subhuman, basically.
Right.
But when he talks about his mom, he's like, she was amazing. She would do these fireworks over the lake. And, like, he doesn't talk about anybody that way. Ever.
Yeah.
Like, Thor is just an idiot who wears too much, or not Thor. Thor is a drunken idiot. Iron Man's an idiot who wears too much cologne in a suit, a stupid tin suit. He hates all of them. You know, he talks about everybody, including Thanos. Thanos is choking him out. He's like, "You'll never be a god. You ain't shit. I'm dying, but you ain't shit." Like, Loki talks about everybody like they're garbage, except his mama. And that kind of got underlined in this last episode, too. So I do think, based off of that scene in the throne room, that obviously at some point we're going to end up at Asgard, and maybe at some point he'll get closure about that. But here's my one gripe with these shows that I think is going to hamstring so many of our theories. They, like we said in episode 1, they always leave them to where you don't really have to watch them in order to get. So I don't think they could save the mother, because that wouldn't be in line with where the films left off.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they would undo the ramifications or the stories of Ragnarok. Because, and I hope they do. I think
this
they
is
should.
The exception to the rule.
I think they should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would love to see Sylvie show up and, like, hang out with Thor. I think that interaction would be phenomenal to see, like, Lady Jane or Lady Thor and Sylvie, like, hang out Thor 4 or some shit, or even normal Thor with Sylvie. I think that would be incredible. I don't know if it's going to happen, for the exact reason that like it would mean that people would have to have watched this in order to understand who the fuck she is without a full on crazy introduction. But that could
so
be a
far,
big
they
shock.
haven't
So maybe
done
they do
that, right?
Yeah, they haven't done it.
Like,
You're right.
if we want to be pedantic, technically all of WandaVision was filler. Technically, it was, but to me, it isn't, because there's character growth there. And I started that series, I'm going to be honest, not really giving a flying fuck about Wanda. Could not care less about her character. Never understood her and Vision as a couple, and ended the series like, okay, no, I understand it now. I get it, you know? And same thing with like Falcon and Winter Soldier. I had some fondness for those characters starting it, ending it. A lot more fondness is there.
Yeah.
I feel like their friendship with each other developed a lot, you know? Whereas before, it just kind of seemed like Cap was their mutual friend and they didn't really have any rapport. If they follow that, then some of these crazy things we're saying, we're going to be so horrifically disappointed.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'm not committed to any of my theories or any of your theories, because they're totally not going to be real. It's going to be some like totally normal thing. I don't know if there's going to be any big, super crazy reveals throughout the next 3 episodes.
I'm not saying I literally just went on the internet and typed in Rene Russo Loki and hoped that there was like a casting thing. I would love to see Rene Russo
Thor
show
4?
up. No, just in this show.
Oh, in this show. Yeah.
Just like, you know, she would have to be in it if he's going to go save his mom.
Yeah, there would have to be a scene between them.
They would probably keep that pretty guarded, though.
Tight-lipped. Agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, you know, that's a big get. You know,
they successfully hid Julia Louis-Dreyfus, didn't they? I don't think anybody knew she was going to pop up. So, I mean, I feel like they're pretty good at.
She even like hinted at it, right? Like she straight up said, "I would love to be a Marvel villain. I think that'd be fucking crazy." Blah blah blah, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's cool, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Like, you're great in Seinfeld. Love you."
Yeah.
and Veep as well. Can't dismiss Veep. There's definitely something though in terms of Loki. It's either a variant where Loki controls Asgard, or it is the 616 timeline, or not 616, the MCU timeline Loki. Something where he's definitely ruling Asgard. He's got a giant throne. There's a bunch of flags behind him. Or maybe it's just a wasted scene. Maybe it's like the president scene where we just never see that in any of the episodes.
I mean, I think we have to, right? We have to.
I'm trying to think if there was any like moments in any of the other trailers for WandaVision and Falcon that they just didn't use something.
Oh, this is fascinating. Oh, okay. So I just went to IMDb because I'm a crazy person.
Are we doing IMDb spoilers?
Well, there is no Rene
Casting
Russo.
okay.
So that's like, you know,
for
that's
episode
not
4
listed at least. Yeah, I mean, just not listed on the cast at all. However, famed. I will say character actor, but mostly just actor. Richard E. Grant is in this show. 3 episodes, no name. I don't know what that means. 3 episodes, no name?
What if that's Old Man Loki or something?
I don't know. What does that mean? That is crazy. I love that. That's even better than a spoiler, because that could be anything. This dude is in this show unnamed for 3 episodes. Lizard person? I don't know. I don't know what this means. That's so cool.
Hairline, he looks a lot like the Hids.
That's what I'm saying.
So he could be like, because I mean, in the comics, you do have Loki who's like old and he's got like the really long horns and he's
I think he's older Loki. He tweeted, so I randomly stumbled upon this tweet on September 25th, 2020. Richard E. Grant tweets at TW Hiddleston and says, at TW Hiddleston and I have talked about working together for some years and finally get to do so in Loki. And he's got I'll just show the tweet. That's an older version of Loki. I think.
Are they allowed to tweet all this?
for three
this
episodes?
is the image. I think if we're either going to get an older Loki or a variant of Loki who's a timekeeper.
For 3 are we gonna? So what I want gonna happen is Loki really gonna, when the door opens, is gonna be fucking Loki, and he's gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm the 3 lizards," because Loki set this all up to get Loki to join the TVA.
That's
Loki!
What I'm thinking.
Oh my god! If I'm right and I called this on episode 1, I'm gonna lose my shit. I'm gonna be like, "I am the greatest caller of shots ever." I am letting you know that it's 3 episodes. He's in it for 3, and there's only 3 episodes left, and we've not seen him yet.
It could be maybe it's Sylvie's dad, because she hates
Loki was the dad. Oh, and we called that too, I think, last episode. All I'm saying is it's Loki's all the way down. Loki after Loki after Loki. This is the TVA's all Lokis.
Maybe.
I'm like
maybe
no. Who else besides Loki would mind control people into forgetting their past?
The name thing is confusing to me too, because I just thought that wasn't her name. Like,
what? Sylvie
changed it.
Yeah, I just assumed her name was Sylvie. But then she says, "Oh, I don't use that name anymore," which leads us to believe that Sylvie Lofi-Doter is
daughter of Lofi.
Is not like a name that it's a name she chose, because she says, "I don't call myself that," or "I left that name behind." I forget exactly what she says, but I thought that was interesting, because definitely prior to episode 3, I just thought her name was Sylvie. Like, if in any multiverse there's a male version of me, probably, yes, 50-50, who knows? And that, who's to say that version of me would also be Jasmine? Probably not.
Jerry.
Probably something like
Jerry.
Probably
Jerry.
Octavius. And
Jerry.
For me to be like, well, why isn't your name Jasmine? What does that mean? He'd probably be like, "Yo, I'm you. I'm just Octavius because I'm a dude." Bro, or Kyle or Kellen or something.
Geonoxus making some big brain if we're just throwing out random hypothesis.
We can do that.
The title is Loki with 4 different like fonts / scripts. So does that mean there's 4 different Lokis in this show? We've got 3 right here with main Loki. We've got old man Loki. We've got Sylvie. Who's the 4th? Owen Loki? No, he's just a jet ski salesman.
Yeah.
They showed Kid Loki in the trailer. Did we get Kid Loki in the trailer? I don't think
that was a child Sylvie, I thought, but it could be Kid Loki.
Is that in the preview?
Honestly, it could be either, because the kid did have long hair.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest, when children are that age, it could be a little boy, it could be a little girl. But the child did have long hair, so
what's the timestamp on that? Do you have it?
Yeah. Oh, did I close that tab?
Oh, wait a minute. There's also another at 148. Never. I guess this is from the department store in episode 2. Never mind. It's 124.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say it's when it says every Loki, 123. So the thing is Sylvie's blonde and this child is dark haired. So that could just be a child version of Loki.
Sure.
Kid Loki.
Now that I'm looking at it, just the long hair doesn't indicate that that's Sylvie. Sylvie's blonde.
Yeah.
But Sylvie could also
Loki can change their appearance at will. I was gonna say Lokis can just change whatever they want. I don't know, honestly. To me, it could be either. It really could be either.
Yeah, I wonder what the point of that, like, Kid Loki is going to be. We haven't even discussed that yet.
Well, and they write every Loki.
Right. So
They don't say both Lokis or two. They write every. I think we're going to have more Lokis in the mix.
I think so.
So I went back to go look up something from episode 2. In episode 2, Mobius says that they've been dealing with Loki time variants for years.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a commodity they've been dealing with.
Yeah.
And I would like to posit this is because the old man Loki, the leader of the TVA, is either trying to like the reason why there's a sacred timeline and all these different things is because he knows that like all the Lokis are up to, like, he's trying to get rid of the other Lokis, right? Like, or oh my god, what if that's too much? It's too much. I was want to say, what if all the variants are Lokis? Like, everyone working there was a Loki. That's too much.
That's
far too much.
That's too much.
But like, that's crazy.
I'm really curious how that plays out, because yeah, they have all this footage. Like, when they show them, they're like, these are all these other Lokis that we've dealt with.
Yeah.
I wonder.
That's like, we don't know that she can modify her appearance. I mean, we don't, but Fam Boxtai exists.
True.
She could just go to Rock Part.
She's also, I mean, she also could probably just do it with magic. Like, it'd be silly if they're like, I dyed my hair. It's like, you fucking what? I just use magic.
I went to a salon.
That's why I was in the department store. I had to buy some hair dye.
Yeah, had to bleach my hair real quick.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know he was in the show. Richard E. Grant. Very excited about this. That's huge.
I think
that's a big thing.
Yeah. That's going to be a big thing. I think that's going to be either a reptile or it's old Loki.
I mean, I would have just assumed we're Reptile Man, but you were like, see these side by sides? Now I'm 100% convinced the TVA is a con by Loki, and he's running all this stuff, and he's like, well, yeah, I need.
Does he become the bad guy then? Is that what season 2 is?
Oh, absolutely.
He's the bad Loki?
Yeah. And I think that this Loki, I think that Sylvie very much is in the same boat. I think that all the these Lokis, the reason why they're variants is because they don't like what? Oh my god! What if the whole thing is just a bunch of like evil Lokis, and these are like the good Lokis? You know what I mean? Like that kind of vibe. Or I don't know. I don't know where we go.
It could be that he's like the old Loki, and the only reason that they find these other variants, supposed variants of Loki, is because he knows that the only people that could actually like get him out or fuck with him is a Loki. And so that's why he's hunting these Lokis down. He's trying to get rid of all the Lokis in all the multiverses and all the different timelines.
That does explain, like you were saying, the intro credits when it's all the different Loki spelled out in about 1 billion different ways. Because the whole point again is this isn't a show about the TVA. This isn't called the TVA. It's Loki.
Yeah.
So the show's about Loki. So something is we're gonna have like a big Loki twist. I'm ready for it. The fact that he stole a time stone.
About you.
But guess what? It totally is. That's the whole point.
It would be kind of
the whole point.
Says that. I know, because when she said that, she's like, "This isn't about you." I'm like, "Well, girl, the show's title would disagree."
Yeah.
It would be really wild if Loki or a Loki version, is the one behind the TVA.
Convinced of it now more than ever. Convinced that scene where she walks in and there's like weird smoky shit that reveals that it's going to be like an old man just in Loki clothes. Convinced of this more than anything.
I would be cool with that. Yeah. I still wasn't 100% convinced that she wasn't like his daughter, because her aversion to the name Loki, and people were saying, well, it's Lofi daughter. If it was her dad, it would be Loki daughter. I mean, come on, if she hates him, is she going to take his name or is she going to take her grandpa's name?
Yeah,
probably her grandpa, like people do that all the time. But I will say this, based off episode 3, I pray to God that's not the case, because the types of flirting that was going on between them,
they were definitely, it'd be kind of weird.
I definitely now, based off of nothing other than that, will say with confidence, I don't think that's his kid, because if it is, that's wild.
You've obviously never seen the movie Demolition Man. That is
True.
A man flirting with his kid for 90% of that movie.
Man?
Sylvester Stallone ends up in the future. He meets the only person in all the future that's just like him, who she's like, I don't remember my father at all. And he's like, I don't remember my daughter. And like, oh my God.
You're ruining Demolition Man. You're ruining No, Sandra Bullock is not his daughter.
Look, all I'm saying is in a future where everyone's like, she's obsessed with the time period he came from. Look, I'm just saying it's too convenient, Bronze. It's too convenient and it's messed up. And now that I know that, you have to know it too.
It's just bad writing. It's just bad writing.
Nope, that is his daughter.
It's true.
Why y'all gotta do that?
Go back, watch that movie. Tell me. All I'm saying is tell me it's not his kid. All signs point to it. Also, Jack Black's in that movie in the background, and it's amazing. Once you see Jack Black as like a goon, and he's just like one of the underground people in the background. Once you notice it, it's all you notice the rest of the movie. It's him in the background, like it's wild. That movie's great. Send a maniac to catch a maniac. That's all I'm saying.
It's true. Been a while since I've seen that movie.
It's a good movie. It's weird. What do you think about it?
There are wolf's ears. Jesse's horrifying theories are near.
You know what, Bronze? Love is like a dagger. Sometimes it's sharp and pointy, and sometimes it's your daughter 20 years in the future.
True. True.
Time travel. It's wild.
Could happen.
Look, all I'm saying is, the point I'm trying to make is, I think that also poses a good goof for the show, where there clearly was chemistry, but the chemistry realizes because like they're related, and it's like, ew, they can have that like, moment. I'm putting it out there.
That might be like too much though for Marvel.
It might be too much for a lot of things, but I'm also saying that we could be reading to their chemistry. It's just two actors that got on very well.
I guess it was in Star Wars, right? So it's
this is the Folgers commercial all over again.
Look, you're totally right. It was canonically in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So
they did 2 goddamn movies.
No, they did.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
And no one was like,
the first time I saw that movie, I was like, why did everyone gloss over this? Where it's like, you're my brother, you're my sister, and they're like, what? And they hug each other. I'm like, I would be like, oh!
If I was Han Solo, I would have been like, y'all some freaks.
Yeah, just left.
Time for this.
Just fucking put me back in the carbonite.
I'm out. There's no way in hell.
Good job back.
No one talks about that. But the reason between episode 6 and 7 why Han and Leia aren't together anymore, he's like, no.
There's a lot of sexual tension. Yeah, he was.
Let's go. And he's like, Chewie, we're leaving. We're going.
He was not down.
Yeah. I like my version of Star Wars better. It's better than those last 3 movies. I like it way better. Chewie, we're leaving.
It's true.
That's how I would have. My Star Wars episode 7 would have started like that.
Yeah.
Y'all some freakadeeks. I'm out. He flies. My version is better. I do think it was
kind of big of Marvel to openly and proudly acknowledge during Pride Month that Loki is.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Bi or pan or that was so cool. I was like, they're always so like tiptoe about that, and instead he's like both, and I was like,
they even
tried to Loki and Loki only.
They even pushed it a little bit further. That's in the Chinese version of the show as well. If you go watch the full, they straight up do not like put that any other way. It is straight up in the Chinese version of the game.
Yeah,
Or
if they
of
had
the
balls,
show.
it would be like Loki would be like, one of my kids has multiple legs. It's a horse. If they had balls,
I wish they would have said
if they
that.
had the balls to be like, one of my oh yeah, I have children.
Yeah.
One's a horse with like a bunch of legs. Wink.
Yeah. So
that's all I'm saying.
That was a very cool moment. I agree as well, Bronze.
Because they've always tiptoed around that. Like,
yeah. There was a lot of like nods through that whole drunken moment or whatever. Like there was a callback to Thor 1, potentially the funniest joke in all of Thor 1 for a lot of people, where he finishes his drink and throws it on the ground and says more.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Like that was a cool nod. The idea that someone was saying the language that they are, the Asgardian language that he speaks is just Norwegian, I think, or something like that.
Yep.
And instead of, it's very Norwegian to say, instead of drunk, you say I'm full. So that's why he says like I'm full, right? Instead of I'm drunk. So that was cool. There's a lot of like just small little head nods throughout that entire
That's why
thing.
when you were saying people were like, this is a filler, I was like, that one scene alone was worth the price of admission. That was so neat to see the two of them interact, to see them like develop their characters, to learn more about them, and then see Loki like live and not just be like, I'm plotting. Although
he could be plotting.
What if he is just plotting? Yeah. What if he is just plotting? I don't know. I thought that was an amazing scene.
Yeah.
Doesn't this also confirm that Sylvie was taken from her home at a young age because she doesn't share any of the cultural touchstones that Loki has?
I mean, yes.
Well,
but I'm curious how she knows the things she knows.
She didn't seem familiar with the song. She didn't seem familiar with the expression "I'm full." I mean,
so I did read a couple of comments. The reason she didn't seem familiar with the song is because she doesn't know Asgardian, and that was actually Loki testing her to see if she understood what he was saying by saying things in Asgardian.
She's actually Enchantress.
Yeah, but I don't think that's.
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
I don't think that's like way too deep. I think for Loki to be like, I was testing you to see if you understood Asgardian language, blah blah blah, right?
No, but I think it is like a confirmation because they do linger on that scene a lot where he's like singing, and then everyone kind of joins in, and he looks at her, and she's just like staring at him.
Yeah,
and there doesn't seem to be any like fondness or recollection in her face of like, oh, I know that song, or oh, that's a banger. You know, I remember.
Yep.
You know, because if I was out and someone started singing, you know, the only brew for the brave and true, I'd be like, comes from the great dragon. So I mean, like, you know, like I feel like her just kind of being like, that to me is like,
it means something. It means she's Mephisto, guys. Full circle.
She's king.
Bronze, you just did the nerdy version of sheesh. That was what you.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Amazing. No way. I love it.
But you know, chat, if you ever get up on a table and start singing the song, you'll have at least one person that goes, "Comes from the green dragon." You know, you won't be completely humiliated.
Yeah.
It's true.
I'll be the guy in the corner waiting for your adventure to begin. I'll have my cloak on. I'll be smoking a long, like way too long pipe, and I'll be waiting for you to approach me, ready for an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Are you
Am I dangerous?
I feel like I'm gonna go to the booth next to yours and be like, "Hi, I'm looking for adventure."
Right, but you have to. I'm like, face the other direction. Don't look at me.
Jesus. Well. I think that means it's time to end the episode, is what that means. Any big predictions going into episode 4 this week? Any other things that we've left out? So far, I feel like we've kind of nailed a lot of the bigger plot points. We got one in episode 3 that all the TVA workers are variants. What was the one in episode 2? There was something. Oh, that they were brainwashed, maybe?
Yes, we definitely said that for episode 2, we were talking about how they were probably all just normal people that the TVA brainwashed.
Yeah.
Because that's why he has jet skis, because he's probably from the 90s, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that was that. I'm gonna lose my shit if old Loki shows up. I will lose my shit if old Loki shows up, or if Loki is one of the fucking lizard men, and he's just
that man has
a
3 episodes worth of like he's listed
he's
for
in
3
the next
episodes.
episode, 100%.
He has to be.
Yeah.
Well, and I think this will help from the film point of view in that Loki, I think, needs some power reclamation because they need the audience to really be invested in his story. And they've played him as a joke or an easily bested villain for several years now. Like the threat that was Loki in the first Avengers film has since been easily and rapidly diffused, right? Seeing him smashed into the ground like by Hulk was, although it was amusing, it also like kind of gets like, oh, that Loki, like he's just not a threat anymore. Thanos like just obliterates him in like less than a second, right? He doesn't even put up much of a fight. Also that the same thing happens in what is it? Thor. When Thor comes back to Asgard and Loki's pretending to be Odin, he very quickly is like, "Oh, brother, sorry." You know, like there's not even an attempt at a fight there, all this stuff, right? So I feel like this might also be a way to have some type of development where we think he's a viable threat and incredibly capable, because that's always been his biggest thing, is that he's so brutally capable. But he's been played for a joke. I can think of 3 off the top of my head when he falls for 30 minutes.
Right.
Doctor Strange literally treats him like a child. He's like, shut up. Anyways, okay, so why are you here? And why'd you bring him here? But that also tells us something. Doctor Strange, despite being able to put him in timeout for 30 minutes, is also like, I don't want him here.
Yeah, well, he's afraid of him. Yeah.
Or
afraid of what he can do. Yeah.
And we were talking back in episode 1 that I was like, Loki at one point was Sorcerer Supreme because he stole the power or whatever, or, you know, finessed his way into it. I don't know. I feel like I'm way off the trails, and I'm just like, Pepe Sylvia.
Well, hold on. Can I join you in this red string crusade of yours?
Come join my web.
So let me just say, I love the idea of Loki being a joke, except old Loki is tired of that shit.
He's like a badass. He's like fucking.
He's straight up he's pulling the one. Jet Li. We're going back to Jet Li. And he is the reason why the Sacred Timeline exists, is so he can wipe out all the other Lokis.
That's what I was saying.
And get their power. And
I don't know about get their power though. Like, do we know if they get stronger or anything like that? Like, what is he?
I think, who knows? I think he has a whole like, you know, no one's gonna mess with me anymore because I'm pissed off Loki. And he's like straight up, you know, like all the other Lokis are flunky Lokis, and he's, you know, he's controlling time and space. And like, and so he's like offering all these other Lokis because like he's powerful. Loki.
Love a Highlander. Love a good Highlander.
And you know what else is interesting here? This show from the outset has told us that everything you believe to be true. Like, okay, so in the newest trailer, Mobius says that I want to believe you could be a good guy.
Yeah.
Right? And in episode 1, he says, you just exist to make everyone else achieve the best versions of themselves. In some ways, they're speaking directly to the audience. Because, you know, the audience is going to be like, Loki's a B-list villain, okay? He's always going to die. But this is almost on some Undertale type of thing where it's like, but what if he wasn't? Like, isn't that really sad that his fate is to just be a B-list villain? That his fate is to just be the reason the Avengers come together and literally avenge, you know, the death of Coulson? Like, what if, maybe that's Mobius is like talking to the audience. Like, what if Loki could be badass and could be a good guy and could serve a bigger purpose? And those of you that are like, well, that never happened in the comics. Do you even watch the MCU? They don't hold to the comics that closely. Like, there's some broad strokes, but they've straight up, you know, gone the opposite direction of the comics multiple times. This is interesting because if you're right, Jesse, yeah, that makes sense. And it would make sense why Mobius keeps saying that. Like, I want to believe. Maybe he's also telling the audience, like, what if everything you believe about Loki could just not be true?
Maybe.
I'm really curious to see. I totally 100% believe we're gonna get old man Loki, and I'm curious to see what his scheme is.
Yeah.
Because why create the TVA? What is the purpose? Why are you trying to? And it has to be a vanity thing. Oh my god, it goes back to like
the strongest power in the universe type deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so we know, oh boy, we know a Loki who is flawed because everything in his life, like he hates everyone. The one person he cares about is dead. You know, he's constantly like beat up and picked on. What if there was a version of Loki that none of that stuff happened to? And he got like everything he ever wanted? What kind of total dickhole would that guy be?
Oh yeah.
You have to imagine that's like I created the TVA kind of Loki. Or, you know, this is time travel stuff. Again, what if this is actually the Loki we know? What if this is Loki took the stone, Loki's been using the stone, Loki messes with time, space, all that stuff, and then we see Loki old in the future having controlled the TVA for millennia, and it's like, oh no, like you became a bad guy. Yeah. Like what you're doing right now sets you on the path. Maybe that's the Owen Wilson speech. It's like what you're doing right now sets you on the path to be evil. And like my dude, I know that you're a good guy. Like that kind of, who knows?
Could be.
Who knows?
Could be. The other big my dog is going crazy right now. It's driving me insane. The other big thing that I think we tried to predict in, was it episode 1? Maybe it was after episode 2, is that this is in the quantum realm, and that's why none of this shit works. So I'd be very interested to see if that like episode 6 post-credit scene, they start like zooming out and it's in like, you know, some random shit in Ant-Man or something like that. Right? Some
Who
random
was in that
thing.
city in the background of Ant-Man, and like there's just a bigger building and it says like Kang on it. Guys, I'm gonna let you know, I will quit this podcast. I'm gonna be 1-0. I'll be like, I called it. I'm done.
I don't think Kang gets shown up at all, or shows up at all in this.
There's not gonna be a giant building that just says Kang on it for some reason.
Not. Of course not.
Damn. This close, so close.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. Next episode's on Wednesday. I think we're all very much excited. Bronze lagged a little bit. Yeah. We're just wrapping up.
Okay.
Unless you have anything else to add. I don't want to stop the flow of hypothesis, Bronze.
Oh no, I think we like comics are a cool reference, and a lot of times they do give us some idea of where it's gonna go. But as we saw with like WandaVision basically being their version of House of M, which was nothing like House of M, right? Because House of M ends with no more mutants. I just don't think we should hold that close to like what has happened in the comics thus far, because as we've seen, they've traditionally flouted it. You know, I see people in chat bringing up Agent of Asgard. Yeah, I talked about those comics like a couple episodes ago. Agent of Asgard has Doctor Doom. It has Valyria. It has that dude with the sword. I don't know what that even has in common with this show, unless there's an older run of that. I don't remember, but I don't think we should like allow that to lock us into what happens, because I mean, as we've seen in the past, like that. Like they change origins and stuff like that all the time. Totally. You know?
Yeah. Well, all the time. It'll set yourself up for disappointment in a lot of ways. So definitely don't tie it to any of that. They play fast and loose when it comes to the MCU and the origin stuff. And
sometimes it's cool and it just works, because I don't mind the way Spectrum got her powers in WandaVision.
I don't either. Yeah, I think it's fine.
Monica Rambeau. I thought it was kind of cool. I was like, oh, okay, cool. She has powers now. But I think it works.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do some shout outs and call it an old show. Bronze, you want to start us off? Where can people check you out? What do you got going on? Do some shout outs.
Hi, hello. I'm that bronze girl. Yeah, no, it's really hot here, so my brain is melting. It's like way too hot in the Pacific Northwest. But if my internet holds out, I'll be streaming today. We're playing, I think, a modded version of Stalker this week. So if you're into Chernobyl and horror games, check that out. The newest episode of Shikar is up on my YouTube channel. What else am I doing this week? Oh, I'm also going to be giving Dead Island a spin for the first time ever. So
Nice.
That's me. I'm a full-time streamer, and yeah, you can follow me on Twitter and on Twitch to know what I'm up to and what I make.
There you go. Cool. Jesse.
Been doing sign-offs forever and still bad at them.
Jesse, do some shout-outs.
Hey, I was on Amazon the other day and saw a tea box that looked like it was from Doctor Strange, and I was like, oh my god, I want to get that. But then I read the reviews and it said it tasted like a mud, and so I didn't buy it.
Okay.
Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
All right.
See, Bronze, I can make you seem like a star.
Thanks, Jesse. Great shout outs. Also, go check out, I'll do Jesse's shout out. Go check out his Final Fantasy 14 WoW comparison video that just came out. It's good.
He worked really hard on it.
He did. He did work very hard on it.
I'm so burnt out from editing. I never want to.
He never wants to edit again.
I never want to edit again, but I have to.
Touch it again.
You do your own editing?
Well, so I have a whole like amazing team of people that work with me, but for that video, I was like, I know what I want to say.
Yeah,
I know what shots I want to use, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
that's why I do a lot of my own editing too. So I was like, oh, I didn't. It's good to know other people are just as control freaky and specific as I am.
I'm a psychopath that even when someone else edits my stuff, I'll go back and rewatch all of it just to make sure. No time is saved.
I'm not
time
crazy.
is saved.
Imagine.
Thank you.
Imagine
I
editing
feel validated
a video.
now.
What? This is just what editing?
I'm a psychopath.
Editing.
Yeah.
You just post.
I know I'm a mess.
2-hour podcast of ranting called the MCU Crew every week. That's all I do. I don't editing.
Yeah. Bless my dear editor Mari for dealing with me.
I love nerding out with you guys every Monday morning. If the MCU ever came to an end, I would be like, what are we gonna nerd out about?
Well, then we just have to start a Harry Potter podcast. You know, we'd have to
what?
go through all those.
No, I'm out. No, I'm good. No, I'm all right. I don't need that.
Let's roll it. Then we just have to start a Mission Impossible podcast. You know, we'd have to watch all.
You
the
know what?
Impossibles.
Here's the thing. That last movie kicked ass. I would be down.
Oh, it was great.
For...
It was fucking fantastic.
That was
yeah.
Fallout was amazing. That was a good ass movie.
Channel. He streamed it, and I was like, "What? This movie's crazy,
great.
and I actually like it."
Dude,
it's really good.
It has
trolling when he was like, "The last Mission Impossible movie is great. We're gonna watch it on my stream." I was like, "He's trolling."
It's incredible.
And then I tuned into that stream, and I was like, "Okay."
It's a fantastic movie.
It's very good. Yeah, it's a good ass movie.
It also it has the coolest action scene / moment in recent movie history.
Where a man cocks his hands like guns.
Where a man cocks his hands like guns.
God damn, that's the coolest scene I've ever. He's like,
dude,
and the fact that it makes a cocking noise and
that's
the best scene in a movie.
Who thought of that? Who was like, Mr. Cavill, we're gonna need you to cock your arms, please.
Please, if you could just cock your arms.
Just act also, like their video.
Wear a mustache for this.
Yes. And they'll CG it out for Superman to destroy that entire movie.
So good. It's so good. You know what? I'm glad that I can proudly say I liked Fallout better than whatever that Superman the movie guys. A better movie.
According to chat, I don't know if I have not verified this. Apparently, Henry Cavill improvised that. He did it just subconsciously, and they were asked to do it again. That's how you know he's a movie star, folks. That's how you know.
Man, I love that guy. I love him to death. If that was improvised, God bless Tom Cruise and team for being like, do it again. Like 80 takes of that. Oh my god.
So are we gonna bring this podcast back when Witcher season 2 airs?
I mean, we can definitely discuss it. Maybe
I'm down to. I will gladly talk about it. But so if it's, if you're like a Witcher fan, you know exactly where it's going.
Oh,
like it's messed up to be like, I've read the books. I know where this is. I know where we're going.
True.
So
there's Witcher.
Really there's nothing really to like speculate about. It's like season 1 was pretty by the numbers. They just told it in like a different way. But season 2, I'm like, oh, I know where. Yeah, the setup's already there. I know exactly where we're going.
100%.
So
100%. We'll get a new trailer for that.
Big nerds.
We'll get a trailer for that at WitcherCon or whatever the fuck they're calling it here in like a week or two. But yeah.
Sure.
Anyways, that's gonna do it for the MCU Crew. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please feel free to subscribe over on the YouTubes as well as all the podcast places you can. I think we're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on all that stuff. I don't do a good enough job of shouting it out, but thanks to everyone that does listen to the audio version of this and lets us sit there and talk about what we're seeing in images without actually seeing the images. You guys are great. Jesse, what are you doing?
I was blowing out all the because it's hot. I was blowing all the hot air.
Oh, okay.
Because don't ask me what I'm doing.
Is so hot. Is that what you're trying to say?
I was hoping this would be like a thing, and then it'd be like, do that again. Let's take 80 takes of that, and that would have been like known on the internet for like the guy.
No,
like,
that's your life now. You're just gonna be looking for your Henry Cavill arm cock.
I gotta do something wacky. Like, who cocks their arm? I gotta be the guy who like revs his legs, you know, like in the cartoons.
you're just doing this constantly, like pulling on your legs, dude.
I'll figure it out.
I hope at the next Olympics they're doing some like dash or something, and he sets a world record. But before the guy like lines up, he sits there and fucking revs his legs. You know, he gets his legs all
Another guy
up.
comes up behind him and puts his like foot on his butt and starts like pulling a cord.
Yep.
Speaking of revving, are you excited for the Army of Darkness? No, we have to go.
We gotta go. We gotta go. Make sure to rev your legs, ladies and gentlemen. It's important, okay? You always gotta rev before you run. We don't make the rules around here. We just say stupid shit.
Gotta rev before you run. That's true.
We'll see you next Monday for more MCU Crew. Have a good one. Bye-bye.